Who is Joe Biden?
We have the strongest economy in the world. We have the most productive workers in the world. And given a fair shot, given a fair chance, Americans have never, ever let their country down. Never.
Joseph Robinette Biden Jr. was born on November 20th, 1942. Biden's father had been wealthy and the family purchased a home in the affluent Long Island suburb of Garden City in the fall of 1946. But he suffered business setbacks around the time Biden was 7 years old, and for several years the family lived with Biden's maternal grandparents in Scranton. Scranton fell into economic decline during the 1950s, and Biden's father could not find steady work. Beginning in 1953, when Biden was 10, the family lived in an apartment in Claymont, Delaware, before moving to a house in nearby Mayfield. Biden Sr. became later a successful used car salesman, maintaining the family in a middle-class lifestyle. Biden married Nelia Hunter, a student at Syracuse University, on August 27, 1966, after overcoming her parents' reluctance for her to wed a Roman Catholic. They had 3 children: Joseph R. Biden III, or Beau, Robert Hunter Biden, and Naomi Christina Biden, or Amy. Biden earned a Juris Doctor from Syracuse University College of Law in 1968. He ranked 76 in a class of 85 students after failing a course because he plagiarized a law review article for a paper he wrote in his first year at law school. He was admitted to the Delaware Bar in 1969. Biden clerked at the Wilmington law firm headed by prominent local Republican William Prickett in 1968, and later said that he thought of himself as a Republican. He disliked incumbent Democratic Delaware Governor Charles L. Terry's conservative racial politics and supported a more liberal Republican, Russell W. Peterson, who defeated Terry in 1968. Local Republicans attempted to recruit Biden, but he registered as an independent because of his distaste for Republican presidential candidate Richard Nixon.
You against it? I expect these fellows are going to eventually judge me on my merit, not on my age, and I have to establish that merit, assuming there is any there. I don't think it's going to be much of a problem. Beyond having other senators' staffs think I'm applying for a job or as a page or something.
In 1969, Biden practiced law, first as a public defender and then at the firm headed by a local active Democrat, who named him to the Democratic Forum, a group trying to reform and revitalize the state party. Biden subsequently re-registered as a Democrat. He and another attorney also formed a law firm. Corporate law did not appeal to him, and criminal law did not pay well. So he supplemented his income by managing properties. A few weeks after Biden was elected senator, his wife Nelia and 1-year-old daughter Naomi were killed in an automobile accident while Christmas shopping in Hockessin, Delaware on December 18, 1972. Nelia's station wagon was hit by a semi-trailer truck as she pulled out from an intersection. Their sons Beau, age 3, and Hunter, age 2, had been in the car and were taken to the hospital with non-life-threatening injuries. Beau with a broken leg and other wounds, and Hunter with a minor skull fracture and other injuries. Biden considered resigning to take care of them, but Senate Majority Leader Mike Mansfield persuaded him not to do it. The accident filled Biden with anger and religious doubts. He wrote that he felt God had played a horrible trick on him, and he had trouble focusing on work. Later, Biden met the teacher Jill Tracy Jacobs in 1975 on a blind date. They married at the United Nations Chapel in New York on June 17, 1977. They spent their honeymoon at Lake Balaton in the Hungarian People's Republic. Biden credits her with a renewal of his interest in politics and life. Their daughter, Ashley Biden, is a social worker and is married to physician Howard Crean. Beau Biden became an Army judge advocate in Iraq and later Delaware Attorney General. He died of brain cancer in 2015. Hunter Biden worked as a Washington lobbyist and investment advisor. His business dealings and personal life came under significant scrutiny during his father's presidency.
Hello, Mr. President. How are you? Senator, I know this is a very tragic day for you, but I wanted you to know that all of us here at the White House were thinking about you and praying for you and also for your two children. So, but in any event, I mean, looking at it as you must in terms of the future, because you have the great fortune of being young. I remember I was 2 years older than you and I went to the house. But the main part is you can remember that she was there when you won a great victory, and you enjoyed it together, and now I'm sure that she'll be watching you from now on. Good luck to you. Thank you very much, Mr. President. Okay, here you go. I appreciate it.
Biden formally declared his candidacy for the 1988 Democratic presidential nomination on June 9, 1987. He was considered a strong candidate because of his moderate image, his speaking ability, his high profile as chair of the Senate Judiciary Committee at the upcoming Robert Bork Supreme Court nomination hearings, and his appeal to baby boomers. He would have been the second youngest person elected president after John F. Kennedy. He raised more in the first quarter of 1987 than any other candidate. Biden said he intended to eliminate some explicit roles assumed by George W. Bush vice president, Dick Cheney, and did not intend to emulate any previous vice presidency. On January 20, 2009, he was sworn in as the 47th Vice President of the United States. He was the first Vice President from Delaware and the first Roman Catholic Vice President. Obama was soon comparing Biden to a basketball player who does a bunch of things that don't show up in the stat sheet. In May, Biden visited Kosovo and affirmed the U.S. position that its independence is irreversible. Biden lost an internal debate to Secretary of State Hillary Clinton about sending 21,000 new troops to Afghanistan. But his skepticism was valued, and in 2009, Biden's views gained more influence as Obama reconsidered his Afghanistan strategies. Biden visited Iraq about every 2 months, becoming the administration's point man in delivering messages to Iraqi leaders about expected progress there. More generally, overseeing Iraq policy became Biden's responsibility. Obama was said to have said, "Joe, you do Iraq." By 2012, Biden had made 8 trips there. But his oversight of U.S. policy in Iraq receded with the exit of some U.S. troops in 2011.
How are you going to pay for that?
By writing the tax code. You got billionaires in this country making $700 billion during this crisis. $700 billion.
As the 2020 campaign season heated up, public polling showed Biden as one of the best performing Democratic candidates in a head-to-head matchup against President Trump, with Democrats keenly focused on electability for defeating Trump. This boosted his popularity among Democratic voters. It also made Biden a frequent target of Trump. In September 2019, it was reported that Trump had pressured Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky to investigate alleged wrongdoing by Biden and his son Hunter Biden. Despite the allegations, no evidence was produced of any wrongdoing by the Bidens. Trump's pressure to investigate the Bidens was perceived by many as an attempt to hurt Biden's chances of winning the presidency. Trump's alleged actions against Biden resulted in a political scandal and Trump's impeachment of the House of Representatives for abuse of power and obstruction of Congress. In March 2019 and April 2019, 8 women accused Biden of previous instances of inappropriate physical contact, such as embracing, touching, or kissing. Biden had previously called himself a tactile politician and admitted this behavior had caused trouble for him. Journalist Mark Bowden described Biden's lifelong habit of talking close, writing that he doesn't just meet you, he engulfs you, scooting closer and leaning forward to talk. In April 2019, Biden pledged to be more respectful of people's personal space. Joe Biden became the 46th President of the United States and entered office with a long political career, having served as a U.S. Senator for Delaware for several decades and as a Vice President under President Barack Obama. His presidency has been marked by a focus on addressing the COVID-19 pandemic, implementing strong vaccination campaigns, and passing economic relief measures to aid individuals and businesses affected by the pandemic's impact. For example, if you're a business owner and you had your doors open during the pandemic or post-pandemic years, there is an IRS credit of up to $25,000 per employee for qualifying companies. This program is called the ERC, Employee Retention Compensation Act. If you want to learn more and speak to an experienced ERC specialist, go down to the description of this video and see if you qualify.
Don't tell me it's not possible in the United States. It's long overdue. And we're reminded tonight of those who fought so hard for so many years to make this happen. But once again, America's bent the arc of the moral universe more toward justice. Kamala, Doug, like it or not, your family, you become an honorary Biden, there's no way out.
President Biden has also prioritized infrastructure development, proposing significant spending plans aimed at improving electric vehicle transportation, broadband access, and tackling climate change. His administration has aimed to promote racial equity, expand healthcare access, and pursue legislative efforts on social welfare programs. Do you think Biden will continue to be the President of the United States in 2024? Tell us what you think in the comments below. Biden, in his first 2 days as president, signed 17 executive orders. By his third day, orders had included rejoining the Paris Climate Agreement, ending the state of national emergency at the border with Mexico, directing the government to rejoin the World Health Organization, face mask requirements on federal property, measures to combat hunger in the United States, and revoking permits for the construction of the Keystone Pipeline. In his first 2 weeks in office, Biden signed more executive orders than any other president since Franklin D. Roosevelt. At the beginning of the 118th Congress, Biden and congressional Republicans engaged in a standoff after the United States hit its debt limit, which raised the risk that the U.S. would default on its debt. Biden and House Speaker Kevin McCarthy struck a deal to raise the debt limit, the Fiscal Responsibility Act of 2023, which suspended the debt limit until January 2025. Biden signed it on June 3rd, averting a default. The deal was generally seen as favorable to Biden. Now, speaking of debt, if you want to eliminate, consolidate your debt, or both, we have an incredible company for you with 20 plus years of experience and an amazing team that will take care of you. Incredible programs that will get you out of debt, including credit card debt, medical, IRS, personal loans, or business loans debt. Call the number now or visit the website in the description of this video. As part of Biden's Build Back Better agenda, in late March 2021, he proposed the American Jobs Plan, a $2 trillion package addressing issues including transport infrastructure, utilities infrastructure, broadband infrastructure, housing, schools, manufacturing, research, and workforce development. After months of negotiations among Bidens and lawmakers, in August 2021, the Senate passed a $1 trillion bipartisan infrastructure bill called the Infrastructure Investment and Jobs Act, while the House, also in a bipartisan manner, approved that bill in early November 2021, covering infrastructure related to transport, utilities, and broadband. Biden signed the bill into law in mid-November 2021. The other core part of the Build Back Better agenda was the Build Back Better Act, a $3.5 trillion social spending bill that expands the social safety net and includes major provisions on climate change. The bill did not have Republican support, so the Democrats attempted to pass it on as a party-line vote through budgeting reconciliation, but struggled to win the support of Senator Joe Manchin, even as the price was lowered to $2.2 trillion. After Manchin rejected the Build Back Better Act's size was reduced and comprehensively revoked into the Inflation Reduction Act of 2022, covering deficit reduction, climate change, healthcare, and tax reform.
Nobody making less than $400,000 will pay a penny more in tax under my proposal.
That's a promise.
That's a guarantee, a promise. I give you my word as a Biden. That's an absolute guarantee.
And you think it's a good idea to raise taxes when the economy's in dire straits?
Depending who you're raising them on. Look, if you're raising somebody who's making $1 billion a year, it's not a problem if they pay 39.6%, which everybody should pay, raise another $90 billion.
The Inflation Reduction Act of 2022 was introduced by Senators Chuck Schumer and Joe Manchin. The package aimed to raise $739 billion and authorize $370 billion in spending on energy and climate change. $300 billion in deficit reduction, 3 years of Affordable Care Act subsidies, prescription drug reform to lower prices, and tax reform. According to an analysis by the Rhodium Group, the bill will lower the U.S. greenhouse gas emission between 35% and 44% by 2030. On August 7, 2022, the Senate passed the bill as amended on a 51-50 vote, with all Democrats voting in favor, all Republicans opposed, and Vice President Kamala Harris breaking the tie. The bill was passed by the House on August 12 and was signed by Biden on August 16. On September 2, 2022, in a nationally broadcast Philadelphia speech, Biden called for a battle for the soul of the nation. Off camera, he called Trump supporters semi-fascist, which Republicans commentators denounced. A predicted Republican wave election did not materialize, and the race for the U.S. Congress control was much closer than expected, with Republicans securing a slim majority of 222 seats in the House of Representatives and the Democratic caucus keeping control of the U.S. Senate with 51 seats, a gain of 1 seat from the last Congress. It was the first midterm election since 1986 in which the party of the incumbent president achieved a net gain in governorship, and the first since 1934 in which the president's party lost no state legislative chamber. Democrats credited Biden for their unexpectedly favorable performance, and he celebrated the results as a strong day for democracy. Biden has consistently been ranked as one of the least wealthy members of the Senate. As of November 2009, Biden's net worth was $27,012. By November 2020, the Bidens were worth $9 million, largely due to sales of Biden books and speaking fees after his vice presidency.
It's time to put away the harsh rhetoric, lower the temperature, see each other again, listen to each other again. And to make progress, we have to stop treating our opponents as our enemies. They are not our enemies, they are Americans. They're Americans.
But what do you think about Biden? Do you think he will win the presidency in 2024? What do you think he will contribute to America? Give us your comments below. We appreciate you watching until the end. You are amazing. Thank you and may God bless you.